Joe.
This is Suit Up Sports. Suit Up Sports. Where opinions are as sharp as a tailored suit. No fluff, no gimmicks, just unfiltered, hard-hitting takes on sports and a whole lot more. It's time to suit up. Now here's your host, DJ the Suit Stout.
And how's everything?
Good, buddy. What kind of ride you in right there, man?
I knew that was gonna happen, man. I was like, these guys catch me in the car, man. They're gonna be all over. So we got some good content.
What is that right there?
I'm in the Mercedes EQS.
Okay.
680 Maybach.
Oh man. Really?
Beat that play over. It's like being a quarterback.
I was gonna say
EQS.
I just remember Mercedes, but
my back.
I was gonna tell the story later, but I might as well tell it now. So, Beast always has sweet rides, and years ago when Jon played for the Panthers, Jon and me and Jon and a few people, hell, you might have been with us, I don't remember, went to fight night in Charlotte, and we were betting on every fight. And I got up to a pretty good lead on Jon, and Jon wanted to do double or nothing on the last fight. And I said, all right. And I said, but I'll tell you what, if I win, I don't want money. I want to drive your Audi R8 for a week. And Jon was like, you agreed. I won. And unfortunately, Jon got traded the next week to the Giants.
Look at that.
So I never got to ride it.
Listen, that is a great story. You would have been looking for me for sure.
Yeah, well,
I think he still is. He's still waiting for that ride.
You know what? I finally sold the Audi in 2020, man, with 14,000 miles on it, and man, I got it in 2008.
Wow.
So I hung on to it for a while, and then it was just time. But unfortunately, DJ, sorry, man.
Well,
we'll have to go rent one.
I'll take that Maybach. However the hell you say it, I'll take that right there for a week.
You got it. This one you want to get chauffeured in.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
The best seat in the car.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life, Beast. I mean, because a lot of Panther fans, watch this, and a lot of guys around there. It's kind of like the who's who, and what are they doing now?
Yeah. So no, life is good, man. Full-time dad. That's what keeps me mostly busy. Everything else is, nothing that keeps me too obligated. Mailbox money, man. Mostly multifamily, especially down here in Miami. It's been crazy trying to navigate the landscape, but it's been good, man. And I hang out on permanent vacation a lot. That's the name of the boat.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man.
And people are like, you're too young to retire. Not when you play ball, man. You get 30, turn 30 as a linebacker, man. You're close to hanging it up. Everybody can't be Thomas.
No, yeah, exactly. Have you? We want to talk about your Hurricanes because obviously they have gotten off to a great start, beating Notre Dame and South Florida. Have you been to a game this year, or do you plan on going to any? I know they got Florida this weekend.
Yeah, so I'll be at the Florida game. I missed last week. I was out of town. I went to the first two games, and I'll say this: I think with NIL, it's changed so much, man. It's like free agency every year. And where you can talk to a guy, you can't talk to a guy, and you get an opportunity to really change your team. But I'll say this: you still need continuity. You still need time to gel, and really, Frank, it's about the relationships. Like you gotta love the guy next to you or the guy who plays across from you, so that when you get into those tough moments, like we talked about the Panthers last week with the Cardinals, it's like, hey, you get the turnover on the onside kick, and all of a sudden, hey, it's time to really go for it. It's a few plays remaining in the game. We got an opportunity to steal one, and you just come up short. And I believe it comes from being together longer, and it takes time. So though we're happy about what's going on in Hurricane Nation, fans are still very much holding their breath because we've had these great starts, and we got to finish. In Florida, regardless of record and rank, they got dudes, man. They're one play away from winning in Death Valley, against the number one team in the country. So we can't go into it, assuming, hey, they lost to South Florida, but we had our way with South Florida. this is a trap game, and you can't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Beast, you talked about closeness and brotherhood, and I've always been envious of what you guys have there, from in Miami, and going back to like the '90s, when you see all the great players on the sideline, and you see the Michael Irvins, the Beasons, the Olsons, every player that's gone there. There's a special bond. What makes that what makes that so the tradition that makes that so special? Because I've been envious and hoped that my university would welcome their old players back, because I think that's got to help in the NIL world today.
Yeah, I think a lot of these kids weren't alive when Miami was truly dominant. Even if you talk about the 01 team, so we gotta quickly remind them of the history. But I'll say this, man. If you ask me about my college career, my pro career, I'll say it wasn't a success. And you're like, well, John, but you're a good player. You did well. You made money. You made Pro Bowls, all pros. Like, yeah, but down here where we're from, it's about a championship. And that's what gets preached to you the day you even consider going to Miami. You go on your official visits, it's about the history and it's about upholding the standard. And as soon as you get in, and the time I came in, we had just played in back-to-back national championships. So it was a very serious group of guys, man. Like, all you had to do was get in line and follow suit. And I think the pressure for some people, if you want to be great, you'll embrace it. And for other people, it's like, yo, I'm just here to do my time and make it to the league. And, with so many guys bouncing around, it's like, when are you willing to die for it? And that's that's the difference, man. So, though I think it's good for college football because, now everyone has a real opportunity to play for it. It's no longer, a money game or a computer system where guys don't get on the same field and say who actually won the game or who would win the game.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, that's what makes it special, man. I think having not just going to a school because you want to go there and play there, but it's the goal of championship or nothing. And I think it's always been that way. It remains that way, at least from the older guys. We preach that to the younger guys, and we want them to understand that we play for a different purpose.
John, let me ask you this, because I know you watch the NFL, and I know you're in Miami, so you probably don't get to see as much Panthers as we do here.
Right.
But the Panthers linebacker play it leaves a lot to be desired so far this season. And we have the Panthers have a great history of linebackers, obviously, with yourself and Luke Kuechly and Dan Morgan and Thomas Davis, and it used to be, at least it seemed, it used to be linebackers was a position that you felt you could fill pretty easily if you could just get a guy in there for a game or two. And
that position's changed so much.
It's changed so much now that the Panthers are kind of in a tough spot because there's not an answer on the roster. Two questions. The first thing I wanted to ask you was speaking of Luke Kuechly, when the Panthers drafted him, everybody was like, why are they taking Kuechly? We don't need a linebacker. We got Beason and we got Thomas Davis. Why are they taking him? How long did it take you? First of all, when they drafted him, were you pissed off about it? And number two, how long did it take you? How many practices did it take you for you to go, dude, this guy's the real deal?
Well, you go 9th overall, there's a high expectation. The only downside was that he went to BC. Like, hey, when does BC produce anything, let alone, the best linebacker in NFL history, So I'll say this, as a team player, for me, I know the long snapper, JJ will tell you, hey, man, Beason was one of my all-time favorite teammates. Ryan Khalil will tell you, Beason was one of my all-time favorite teammates. Josh Norman, because I wanted to know everyone. Because if you have the relationship, you're gonna play. And I'm pro team before pro self.
Yeah.
And if he's gonna be on my team, he's gonna be. I'm bringing him into the fold, into the family. Now it didn't hurt that he's the nicest person on the planet, let alone a teammate.
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
we always had a close connection right away, and then being an older guy, in I think it was year 6, if I'm not mistaken, it was just like with Dan Morgan. I came in. I was honored to carry his pads. I was honored to hang out with him and his family and get to know how to go about things. And he embraced me. He didn't. It was never a competition. I actually wanted his approval. I wanted to live up to the standard. I wanted to practice hard and not make mistakes. And Luke made it so easy because he was such a great teammate. But I'll say when I watch linebacker play now in 2025, the game's so different because of, and Frank, you know this, because of the cheat of the RPO, man. I mean, guys who study film really well and have great eyes with keys and responsibilities, they react. You know, we're going to be where we're supposed to be maybe early, waiting on plays because we do study the game. And with that guy coming off the ball, it's like that's run all the way. And now all of a sudden it's a pass behind. There's so much of the game is predicated on, you know, a run pass option where I think it's difficult to play in today's game.
Well, not only, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, not only that, Beast. I mean, you have to be able to be physical enough to take on these 360 pounders, but also athletic enough to get back in coverage. And it's almost like you have to play sideline to sideline, where it used to be you could stick a 4-3 linebacker in the middle and he could play tackle to tackle, or a 3-4 backer. He's going to be a plug guy that's going to come and take on these big guards. You have to be a hybrid now and do it all. And the Panthers, I think that's the biggest challenge for the Panthers right now is they have traditional linebackers stuck in a hybrid role.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. I was fortunate that I came out when I did, you know, considered undersized, but where the game was going, you know, being a converted safety like Thomas Davis, like Shaq Thompson, we have the cover skills, but you have to still have mentality. And I would say it took Shaq a little, you know, a season or two to grow into the size that it takes to be a great will linebacker. And when you watch guys play, it's so different now. And for me, I always had physicality. I was always a hitter, and I don't mind. If I can deplete an offensive lineman, you know, I love that. I love that part of the game. And you almost need to be kind of like a tweener, but these tweeners, they don't play the run well, and it bothers me. So I think the Panthers actually have some good linebackers getting downhill that are big and physical and can run. But man, you know, when that receiver lines up at number 3, or these tight ends now that can really run and stretch the field, you know, that's where you could end up being limited.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been able to cover a tight end this year, and playing the Falcons this week with Pitts, you know, who has been, I guess, kind of a disappointment so far, but he's actually looked good this year. So that's going to be a hell of a matchup, and the Panthers are going to have to figure it out one way or the other.
Right. So I'll say this about like Pitts, like if I was playing him. So the reason why he gets a bad rap is because what was he, 4th pick overall? He ran 4.4. We want to see that on the film. Like, you can't teach 6.6 4.4, man. Like, you should be the most dominant tight end in the history of the position. You should be the first guy to never be called a tight end, just be called like the weapon. That should be his position. But it's almost like his mentality, man. So if I were playing him, I would give him 2 looks. And though he is a 4.4 guy, the film doesn't say that, in my opinion. So maybe the first time you're covering him within that 5-yard box, you come right down and you just put your helmet right under his chin to let him know, hey, look, I'm not going to let you get a free release. And then the next time you might fake and give him hands, and then he tries to chop your arm down, and then he falls, and then, hey, you got him covered. Like, you got to mix it up and understand that it's not necessarily about staying in the lead position because you think he's fast. It's more so you want to be underneath, and when a guy's that tall, you got to think about it. I had to deal with Kellen Winslow Jr., Shockey, almost my guy, Jimmy Graham. I mean, all the great Tony Gonzalez guys who were really part of the offense. And, you know, you just try to get between them and the ball, and you're giving up size, but ultimately it's a technique. And if you just play the guy's hands, that's where the ball's going. So, you know, you get a quarterback on here, Bryce will tell you, hey, if I can't see the linebacker's eyes, throw it. And that's what they do. And I know that. So I know the ball's coming. So I just play their hands, and I was able to be successful in coverage. But he's going to be a big part of their offense, no doubt, this Sunday.
You know, Beast, there's certain players when you're watching games that just kind of your eyes jump off the screen. You're like, wow, that guy just has it. And you're watching the film, and that's what your eyes train you to do. You know, whether it's the speed, the quickness, the explosiveness, the size as an offensive lineman, when he hits a linebacker and how he concaves the guy, you know, whatever it might be. You know, I've seen guys in my career, and I'm playing against some really good linebackers. You never got a chance to play against you. You know, maybe 4 fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know.
It would have been fun.
It would have been a lot
At
of
least we
fun
have
for
a
sure.
great story like DJ, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's better than that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. But when you look at the game today, the Junior Seau's are no longer there. Ray Lewis is no longer there. The Jon Beasons, the Urlachers, the London Fletchers, the really good linebackers that have played this game, I don't think exist anymore. Or at least they're not the center point of the defense. Who's that guy today that you look at and say, gosh, I mean, that guy's just got that special knack, and the eyes jump off of the screen when I see a Luke Kuechly read a play and he shoots through the line and makes a 4-yard tackle for a loss?
So I think what happens is, first off, there's probably some great linebacker play that's going on, and it doesn't get talked about because the team's not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the Panthers don't go to the Super Bowl or go 15-1 or we're perennial playoff contenders every year. What was it, like 4 or 5 years in a row between Thomas, Luke, Khalil, Cam, Olsen, and Jonathan Stewart? That nucleus, Charles Johnson. They were like in the playoffs every year. So you start playing on prime time, and people start talking about you, and then you're like, oh, that guy is pretty good. And there's guys that fall through the cracks all the time because their team's not that great. But I'll also say this. I got into this argument with LeVar Arrington. And we got mutual friends. We've been pretty cool for about the last 3 years, and he's always talking about linebacker you. I'm like, bro, what linebacker you are you talking about? Like, I'll give you a few guys, but if you put your hand down, in my opinion, you're not a linebacker. Like Micah Parsons is not a linebacker.
Right.
You get 50 tackles a game, a year, and what he's averaged 12 sacks a year since he's been in. Bro, you're a pass rusher. You're a 3-4. Like, you're not an outside linebacker. So you lose Pro Bowl votes if you play outside, like I did when I was outside, or Thomas was when he was outside. Like, he's clearly the best will in football, and I think Thomas is top 2-3 best wills to ever play the position. Derek Thomas is there, and Levante David. Those are the guys that I put right there with him. I'm not saying that they're better, but that's the argument. But both of those guys have won Super Bowls, and Thomas did not. So now all of a sudden, does his name fall through the cracks? And Luke Kuechly is the best Mike linebacker, and the only reason why Ray is considered better, it may be because he was on a team that was always in the playoffs, won the Super Bowl twice. He's been Defensive Player of the Year, like Luke, and then he had the longevity, right? Career almost double, so the stats are, popping. So Ray's the man, and Luke, you're right there. So if guys fall through the cracks, man, it's changed. But I'll say this, man, we're a little handcuffed out there in terms of our ability to, really impose our will. Like, if I see another quarterback run over somebody, like this year, like they keep dropping the shoulder, like I'm like, whoa, red jersey, chill out. Oh, since when? Like, you're supposed to slide.
Right.
I thought we had a non-negotiable here. When I come near you, you slide, and then I don't think that you're gonna try to run me over. Josh Allen at 6'5", 250. Like, hold on, man. Like, are we really gonna play football now?
Yeah.
It's changed so much, man. But I miss that part of the game, man, where it was like you could scare offenses before you even got out there. They knew you had to deal with you, whether it's the linemen or the ball catchers, the ball runners. That was a fun part of the game that I think is missing.
Speaking of LeVar Arrington, have you got to see his son play? I think he was #1 recruit in the country. I think he's going to Penn State, but he's supposed to be unbelievable.
Yeah. So, I heard about it, and then he was actually hanging out with Plex when they were down here last year for, I think it was the Orange Bowl game. And, Plexico's a good friend of mine, too. He's got his son's on Notre Dame playing receiver. So, yeah, man, look, LeVar being LeVar, nobody was probably better in college. And we talk about that. I say, look, you can't just say college career versus pro. Like, you got to combine both. You got to combine both to be linebacker you. And, being the #2 pick in the draft and being a physical specimen like he is, there is no bigger, faster human being to play football than LeVar. So it's always a challenging argument, but also a lot of fun, man, and a lot of jabbing. And we like, we can't be talking about linebackers that played like 70 years ago, bro.
You're right. Yeah. I hear you. What have you ever thought about getting into coaching? Because I mean, like you said, you love being in the film room. You obviously know your stuff. Have you thought about getting into coaching, or is that something?
The man's playing on a boat right now.
Exactly.
He's going 80 hours a week.
He don't want to mess around. I get that.
Yeah.
He's on a yacht. He's on a yacht in Miami.
He gets down to South Florida more, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, Frank, you get down here more. But I've been asked that question several times, man. I mean, we're doing the Mark Richt era down here in Miami. They had something called the Paradise Camp, where we had literally 40 former players, all pro guys, come back and work at camp. It was like the most star-studded lineup you've ever seen. And we're all out there, and we get a chance to coach the kids for a couple hours per the rules. And my name on a short list, who would be the number one player to coach once they're done with their career? Mine was number one, and I was like, "Whoa, they got it messed up, man." I mean, there's two things that I know what makes a great coach, and I learned this from Sean McDermott, and I recall even with Turgo, man, back in the day, my rookie year, like we never really went upstairs to the second floor, but when you did, the coaches had blow-up mattresses in their offices. So I always use that kind of like analogy, like you're a great coach in the NFL or in college if you have a blow-up mattress in your closet somewhere, because those are the type of hours it takes, first off. And then the second part is like, what game do you want me to coach? Because if a guy's a few inches off the ground and he's not down yet, I expect my linebacker to run full speed and get a piece of his before he hits the ground. And you can't do that anymore. They want you to pull up. These guys just kind of gingerly run out of bounds. Like, bro, you better get out of bounds, because I didn't run all the way over here to high five your coach, you know what I mean, or to grab a Gatorade, I mean business. And I think from a respect standpoint, offensively, they expect my best. They want me to bring it. I want them to bring it. And then if I lose the battle on one play, I'll be coming back the next play. So it's difficult for me to coach that mentality, because I would be on my kids hard about aggression and about finishing. And a loaf is a change of speed. It's not, did you just completely loaf and take it easy? No, if the ball moved and your speed wasn't 100 miles an hour until the play was over, then you loafed.
Yeah.
We got higher standards, man. We got coached hard. And that's why the game was what it was. I know that it became more violent but more combative. Like, you had to be tough before you were considered a good football player at every position. You know?
He's getting me fired up, man.
It's tough to coach, bro.
And that's why
we
hit like 2 Rams, and we'd have probably had our fair share, because there's only one way to play the game. And you're right, Beast. These kids nowadays, it's you got to coddle them a little bit. You got to tell them how good they are, and it's just the YMCA mentality.
Yeah, and this is why, look, there's a reason why guys are running faster, jumping higher, and lifting more. All the stuff that doesn't make you a great football player, it doesn't say that you're tough, because that part of the evaluation is removed.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Andrew Swayze was my strength coach and legendary strength coach at University of Miami. Now he's over in Colorado with Dion. And he would just basically have a group of guys and say, hey, this group of guys will win with them. I can't tell you how great of football players they are, but they're tough, they're in condition, and they want to win. They want to compete. So coach these guys up. And then you might have the elite guys, crazy speed and can jump and do all that stuff, but they break when they get challenged. Those are the guys who are going to give it up in the fourth quarter when it's tight. So I missed the just toughness of the game first, man.
Is there a guy in the NFL?
All that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Frank, we talked about this when Frank first started playing the NFL. I'm not saying this to give him crap, but it's true. I think you had 3-a-days.
Yeah, I mean, we had an extra week of training camp, an extra mini camp. We played that extra game because we were an expansion team, and they weren't worried about drinks and
there was
20
no water.
hours.
That was part of the toughness, right?
Yeah.
No water. See who can survive no water? You know,
yeah,
it's wild.
No 20-hour rule. I mean, you went out there until you were done, taking care of business. And
right. It rewarded those guys. Yeah, the guys who put the work in, the extra work.
And Spartanburg was no joke. I mean, that might be the hottest place on the planet.
Yeah, no doubt.
First time I ever had a sunburn in my life was in Satanburg, South Carolina.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. Is there a player now in the NFL that you love to watch that you think, man, that guy would have been a guy I'd like to line up next to or against?
Yeah, so I'm sorry I missed that. I should have answered that. You did say that earlier.
No, good.
All right, so my favorite tandem is the two guys in Baltimore. I love Roquan and Patrick Queen. I got a chance to meet Patrick Queen when I was working for ACC Network and during the national championship game against Clemson. And, he walked up and I'm like, I looked like Terrence Marshall. I said, oh, what's going on? What are you guys eating?
You're right.
Just specimens. And you look at these guys and you're like, man, you just expect so much from them. And those two guys, I think they still arrive with bad intentions. I think you can watch the game and still see guys get knocked backwards. Head, across the bow as opposed behind the ball carrier, knocking guys back. And then they chase, they hunt, man. They hunt. And I think it's a collective effort, a culture that they have there in Baltimore, obviously established, 25 years ago with Ray and what they did, in 2000, 2001 when they won a Super Bowl and were the best defense in history. I think they just keep bringing in those type of guys,
Yeah.
And that tandem, man, is special. I like Fred Warner too. Him and Greenlaw were a great tandem for a minute. But it's hard, man. I'm tough on backers. If you don't do everything and you're smart, and you don't loaf, it's all of that stuff too.
Well, that's the part that's the part that a lot of people forget about. And especially when you look at players today, is that it's the mental part of the game that keeps you going and allows you to find a way around that wall. Some guys are built to go over, some guys are built to go around, but finding a way when you can't go through it is what makes the difference between a guy that plays 10 years and a guy that plays 5.
Absolutely. And that's what's gonna last, man. I think that when you look at the Panthers and you say, well, man, are the Panthers a bad team, or is Arizona better than we expected? Right? Because Arizona has played better. We expected more from the Chiefs, right? No one thought they'd be 0-2, possibly 0-3, and people were saying they might lose to the Giants. It's like, are we serious? Like, Philly hasn't looked so super dominant, and then you look at Green Bay, and Green Bay, it's not even so much about how great the offense is and the play calling of Matt LaFleur. It's more about what's going on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, you hold Detroit to 13 points.
Yeah,
that offense is for real.
I mean, people forget how good Gary already was, and Parsons. People are talking about Parsons, but Gary was already one of the best in the league, and now you got Parsons on the other side. I mean, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be, the highest paid edge rush guy, you need, especially at his stature, right? Like, he's explosive. He's Aaron Donald at defensive end, right? Like, just athletically not fair against any tackle probably ever, but has the power and the speed to get the job done. But Green Bay's been putting him in 3rd and long often because he's not. Sorry about that. He's not playing a lot of snaps, and he's a 3rd down specialist because of what they're doing on 1st and 2nd down, and then what the offense is doing. The offense gets the lead. Now you can pin your ears back and go hunt. So, they have a very formidable team, but it's early in the season, and all the storylines that we thought were going to be the thing has not been what transpired in the first 2 games of the season. So, the Panthers still have a lot of room to grow, and they're playing tougher. You can see the fight and the effort and the mentality of the guys that Dan's bringing in.
Beast, one of my favorite movies is, Remember the Titans, and it was that scene when, when the two guys go, attitude is a reflection of leadership, right? And, I'm talking about head coaches, and you look at what's the way that coaches coach nowadays versus how they coach. Who's the best coach you ever played for, and how did you deal with a coach that was going to sit there and tell you how good you were, never really tell you the truth, and get on you for the mistakes that you made, or at least that's the appearance to us as fans with the Panthers, is that the coach is always just so positive that there's never anything that the guys are going to do wrong, or there's no fire or brimstone that he brings. Just talk about coaching and these days, and who was the best coach you played for?
Well, we'll keep it pro, and so it's easy. But I'm going to say it's a tie between, John Fox and Tom Coughlin. And obviously those are two head coaches that I played for. Obviously, I played for Ron for, a year, but not really on the field. And the reason why I put John Fox and TC, Tom Coughlin, the same one, they're from the same tree, right? They're Parcells guys. They coached together. They won together Super Bowls and whatnot. And Coach Fox and I had an outstanding relationship, and I really loved his mentality, especially when he would pop into the defensive meeting room. Like, he always wanted to be extremely prepared with every nuance of the game. Everything we could possibly throw at him, we would practice that. But then we get in the game, and if the front four are eating, we're not calling none of it, right? So I love that mentality. And then Tom Coughlin was just a machine, man. At 70 years old, he was a robot. I mean, he arrived exactly on time, the same time, same spot, come in, get his workout in. My position coach, Jim Herman, told me that he had a six-pack, man. I mean, the guy would work out, he practiced his speeches, and he was the single most motivating coach I've ever been around. I mean, he would have, all the time, man, he would just have what we needed based on that particular day of practice or that game, and I respect him for it, because discipline's the only way to win, man. Guys want to have fun, and football is fun, but you got to have discipline to win. And those are my two favorite coaches in the league. And then positionally, it gets deeper. And I played for a guy who's still going, man, Richard Smith. And you talk about telling you when your stuff doesn't smell great. We had just brought in Ron Meeks, who was going back to the Tony Dungy, Tampa 2, Lane Kiffin, Monty Kiffin days. And we switched to, a Tampa 2. And I don't like to have to, on first down, turn and burn and play deep middle. I want to get downhill and go forward, and then have the opportunity to still, play underneath. So I hated it. I hated playing cover 2, and I had to move outside when Thomas got hurt from middle, and I didn't want to go back because I loved Mike linebacker, and it wasn't going well in the preseason. In a cover 2 scheme, you got to turn all the blocks back inside. That means the ball carrier stays north and south. Whereas I don't think anybody's getting me to the corner, so I want things to go east and west and let me run. So spill it. But that's not the scheme of cover 2. So we were drastically changing our philosophy after 3 years, and it wasn't going well in the preseason, and Coach Smith had just got there. So, we had just developed our relationship, obviously, through OTA.
Yep. I think we lost Beason.
Phone.
I think he might have got to the yacht. He might have got to the yacht.
Got to the yacht.
We'll see if he tries to get back in here, and if he does, we'll put him back on.
He got to the yacht, or his phone died.
Yeah, one of the two. That's sweet.
Some great stuff, though.
Great stuff, man.
Great stuff with
him talk about the Kuechly days, and just his mentality. Like, I know you very well, and you know me, and I'll tell you what, his mentality is exactly what I want in a football player and a coach. Here he is. Is he back? I think we got him back.
Yeah, we got him back. I was hoping.
Sorry. I'm in the car, so I can't go to airplane mode, unfortunately.
We thought you got to the yacht, and we're just like, okay, girl.
That's the deal. Everyone's there waiting on me. They're like, where are you, bro? Like, we already got the lines off and ready to rock. But
did you bring some sunscreen? We don't want you to get any more sunburn.
You gotta be careful when you start talking about.
I don't hang out there in the sun, man. I'm in and out. I'm a T-top guy, bro.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. You start talking lines down there in Miami too.
You don't know what kind of lines I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. You fishing or you?
Oh yeah.
There we go. Well, hey, John, thanks for joining us, man.
with Coach Smith, man. I want to tell people this story because they don't understand. You know, I was first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, and here he is pulling me in after the second preseason game and like, hey, let's watch a couple plays. So he puts them on, watch, and goes, "That's like an All-Pro player right there." I'm like, "No, sir." Boom, boom, boom. Another play. So he made it like a little clip of like lowlights throughout the preseason, and most coaches wouldn't do that. You don't step on the toes of a veteran guy who's a heartbeat of your defense.
Yeah, you're not making an example out of those guys.
Gets it done, right? Like it wasn't not that I wasn't playing hard. It's just you got to buy in mentally, man. And the reason I bring that story up is because he loved us. It wasn't a work relationship. He had us over to his house. You know, we met his wife. He would have us. She would make dinner for us, and we would all kind of hang out. And it was just a very different approach. And he's been in coaching the league for over 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, coordinating and going back to linebackers, man. But he's old school, and I'm sure it's been difficult for him to navigate the time schedule or the change ways that we go about practice. And then he told me this other story about Zach Thomas, who was considered an undersized guy, even though he's one of the toughest dudes to ever play football.
Yep.
He said he was the most impressive player he's ever seen in at the time 30 plus years. And he said, he goes, I would always walk by him on the plane, and he would have a 5-ring spiral notebook with tabs, and he would have these different parts of the game, and he would have notes and just pages. The whole thing would be filled up. And this is where I realized that, like, I know I can watch film. One, I could know exactly what I have to do. Two, and be where I'm supposed to be. But that next level of preparation, Coach Smith really gave me.
Yeah.
You know, this is how you do it. And he goes, I'm gonna be honest, I learned a lot of this from Zach Thomas. But the ability to tell your child, your daughter, your son, and your players, man, hey man, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know, this is not, and it's not you. And that requires a relationship. So it's the love, man, that's missing, man. You gotta, like I talked about earlier, but coach the player, man, the respect, it's gotta be there, and you gotta be willing to die for your players, and players gotta be willing to die for the coaches.
Yep.
He needs to go work on that tan, DJ.
I know.
Yeah, you're not keeping it, man. You know,
it looks good. Looks good.
You know, I'm looking a little flocker. You know, so I'm a little slim.
he's like Tubbs and Crockett back down there, right?
In Miami.
He's got the flannels and the loafers on.
Well, have fun on the yacht. We're a little jealous, and thanks for joining us, man. The stories are great. Your insight is always great. And if you're back in Charlotte anytime soon, give us a ring. Let's go out and get a good dinner.
You don't want to get that my box.
No car necessary.
I won't have the RA. And actually, I had it before Tony Stark's documented. So it's not the Iron Man car; it's the Jon Beason car that Tony Stark drives.
There you go.
Well, you definitely had the first one that I'd ever seen. I know that much. And the fact you kept it that long and only had 14,000 miles on it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man. It was.
Unfortunately, I didn't get any miles.
I don't drive the Waxhaw anymore. That's why.
That's right. Well, man, thanks for joining us, John. We'll get you back on during the season. Have fun on the yacht. Seems like everything's going great. Great dad, likewise. Little girl. I mean, you want any more kids? I mean, I could see a little boy Beason in there somewhere.
Man, you know what? I tell people, I said, man, God knew what he was doing by giving me a daughter, because I would be on him, boy. The same reason why I can't coach. You know, my daughter makes me soft. I love it. She makes me grounded, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
I hear you. All right, brother. Well, thank you for joining us, man. We'll get you on soon. Have a good day.
Enjoy it, buddy.
Love, peace.
All right.
Thanks, John.